Good morning and welcome to our YouTube live session. Good morning and welcome to our YouTube live session. Today we'll be discussing the guidance notice issued by the Nigeria Data Protection Commission for the registration of data controllers and data processors of major importance. We'll begin by exploring the criteria for designation as a data controller or data processor of major importance. We'll also break down the classification system and how organizations can know what level they fall under, either the ultra high level, extra high level, or ordinary high level. We'll discuss examples of organizations that fall under each category and the threshold of data subject data they process to meet such criteria. So let's begin. So a lot of people will be wondering, why should the NDPC come up with a guidance notice for registration of data controllers and data processor of major importance? But if you've studied the Data Protection Act, it's one of the key components that after 6 months, organizations that process personal data are expected to register with the commission. And there are criteria for categorizing every organization that is expected to register. So, organizations that are considered data controller and data processor of major importance must meet certain criteria, one of which is they must process minimum of 200 data subject records within a period of 6 months. Also, they should operate in industries like the financial sector, communication sector, health sector, education sector, insurance, export and import, aviation, tourism, oil and gas, and electric power. So, if you operate in a sector that is not mentioned and you still process data, personal data to be specific, of a minimum of 100 customers, which we regard as data subjects, it also applies to you. So the fact that the sector you operate is not fully mentioned does not exonerate your organization from registration. As long as you have a minimum of 200 customers, then you are bound by the law to register. And when you mean customers, I'm just trying to break it down. As long as you process the personal data of 200 people, you should register. Yes, the manufacturing and construction sector is also part of those that should register. The fact that it was not carefully drafted on the guidance notice does not exonerate the sector. As long as you have 200 customers whose records you process, you should comply. Now, the NDPC, the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, classified organizations, data controllers, and data processors into three levels. We have the ultra high level, we have the extra high level, and we have the ordinary high level. For the major processing ultra high level, we have the commercial banks, the big banks, whether they have a national license, international license, or regional license. As long as you're a commercial bank, you fall under the ultra high level. We also have the telcos, all the telecom companies, the MTN, Airtel, Nine Mobile, Glo, they fall under this category, the ultra high level. We have all insurance companies. We also have multinationals. We also have electricity distribution companies. We have oil and gas companies, upstream, downstream. Then we also have public social media app developers and proprietors. Then we have public email app developers. Then we have communication device manufacturers. And we have payment gateway service providers. So these industries are carefully mentioned. However, if within 6 months you process personal data of up to 5,000 data subjects, you also fall under this category. So if the sector you operate is not mentioned here under the ultra high level, but you deal with up to 5,000 customer records within 6 months, you also fall under this category. We also have the extra high level. Under this level, we have the government ministries, department, parastatals, and agencies. We have microfinance banks. We have higher institutions. We have hospitals. And we have the mortgage bank. However, if you process 1,000 records of customers, personal data to be specific, you also fall under this category. So if you have a customer base of say 1,000 customers and within 6 months you process their record, and when you mean process, you store, you retrieve, you archive, you share, you collect, you also fall under this category. We have the ordinary high level. This is where we have the small and medium scale enterprises, the primary schools, the secondary schools, the primary health centers, agents, contractors, vendors that process data as third parties for organizations under the ultra high level, so that you get it right. As long as you have 200 customers and you process their records within 6 months, even if you are not captured under this sector, you also fall under this clause. So the minimum amount of customer record you should have to register with the NDPC is 200. And it's good you understand that minimum of 200. So if you have less than 200, you have no business registering as at now, because you are not considered a data controller or data processor of major importance. Now, the NDPC prescribed certain fees as registration fees. Now, these fees will be collected by the NDPC on behalf of the federal government. You are not paying this fee to a private company or a consulting firm. This is what you use for registration. So for organization under the ultra high level, the prescribed fee is 250,000. For organizations under the extra high level, the prescribed fee is 100,000. And for those under the ordinary high level, it is 10,000 naira. But this fee is exclusive of the electronic fund transfer charges, because you are expected to pay online, and you know when you are paying online, it comes with some certain fees. So you need to get it straight. If you fall under the ultra high level, your registration fee is 250,000 and the money goes straight to the federal government through the NDPC. If you are under the extra high level, it is 100,000, and if you are under the ordinary high level, it's 10,000 naira. So the guidance notice has to be explained in a way that everybody can understand it. We have a question: how do we averagely determine the number of records? To me, it's very simple. If you look at your customer base, you look at how many customers you deal with, and within a period of 6 months, how many records do you process? If it falls under the ultra high level, extra high level, ordinary high level, then that determines. But you should also know that the sector you operate also classify you under certain levels. So for the Ultra high level, you have the commercial banks, the telcos, the electricity distribution companies. For the extra high level, you have the mortgage bank, the microfinance banks, and for the ordinary high level, you have the SMEs, the secondary schools, the primary schools. Now, the deadline for registration is set at June 30th, 2024. And this deadline has been fixed. After the deadline, there will be penalties for organizations that are yet to onboard. So you have between now and the 30th of June to register. And there are requirements for you to complete your registration process, which we'll also highlight. And the registration link is www.services.ndpc.gov.ng. So it's a self registration process. However, you may need to consult a data protection compliance organization to guide you through the process because you will need some key information about the data protection officer, his certification or a certification. You also need the NIN of the data protection officer to onboard and other things. So it's something that you can do on your own, but you can also consult it out to ease the process. So we have a training coming up that will explain how this portal work. The essence of this training is to make sure that every organization that is registering don't make mistake, that down the line they will have it difficult in accessing their records because you need to follow some key step. So in this training, we will be talking a whole lot about the step by step process a data controller, a data processor, and a data protection officer should follow when onboarding on the e-registration portal. So we'll also be looking at the registration requirements. What are the requirements for the data protection officer? What are the requirements for the organization? And the approved data protection officer certifications, both internationally and locally, and the registration fees, how you pay. So there'll be a live demo. And what are the frequently asked questions that you should be able to know before you register? Because there are key things you should know. What email should you use? Who should you put as contact on the portal? Because those are some of the requirements. So we'll do a live training on how to use the portal from start to finish so that if you want to do the registration yourself, you have the right skill and the right knowledge so that you don't make any mistake. People that should attend this training include employees who handle personal data, data protection officers that have been designated by the organization to advise the organization on the best practices, IT staff and data analysts, human resource personnel who handle employee records, legal and compliance officers, customer service representative, sales and marketing staff, admin, executive staff, and any third party. So it's going to be a practical training on how to navigate the portal. Today's training focused more on getting participants to know what level they fall under. Are they on the extra high? Are they on the ordinary high or the ultra high? So you need to know this because when you want to register on the portal, there are some pre-requirements based on where you fall under. So the practical training is going to explain all those things so that before you even log into the portal, you have all those things and you can easily upload them without having any technical issues. So this training is not free, it's paid because it's a specialized training. It's going to cost 15,000 naira. And we have discount when you are registering more than 5 people from a particular organization. So you can reach out to our team and we'll guide you on how to complete your payment and get registered. So organizations that are required to register on the portal include commercial banks, the telcos, the insurance company, multinationals, electricity distribution companies, oil and gas companies, public social media app, public email app developers, device manufacturers, payment gateway service providers, stock brokerage and asset management firm, government ministries and parastatals, microfinance banks, higher institutions, hospitals, mortgage bank, SMEs, secondary schools, and third-party vendors. So you can keep your questions coming in. I will answer all those questions as you drop them on the chat box. So you can also reach out to us www.flowlist.com or send a mail to info@flowlist.com so that we can guide you through the process. The practical training is very important for organizations that want to do this registration themselves. However, you can still consult a professional to help your organization on board. And the deadline for registration is the 30th of June 2024. So if you have any question based on what we've explained, before we do a recap, drop the questions and we'll answer those questions. So while the questions are coming, I just want to do a recap of the major thing we've discussed today, which is the three categories of organizations. We have the ultra high level, we have the extra high level, and the ordinary high level. And organizations that fall under the ultra high level includes the commercial banks, the telcos, the insurance companies, the multinationals, electricity and distribution company, oil and gas companies, public social media app developers, public email app developers, device manufacturers, and payment gateway service providers. However, if you process up to 5,000 personal data of customers within a period of 6 months, you fall under the ultra high level. So let me give an instance. Take, for instance, you have a customer base of, say, 10,000 people, but not all these 10,000 people records are processed on a monthly basis. So if within 6 months you can process up to 5,000 customer records, then you fall under the ultra high level, even if your sector is not categorized under the ultra high level. So we go down to the extra high level. You have the mortgage banks, you have the hospitals, you have the higher institutions, you have the microfinance bank, and you have government ministries, departments, and agencies. But if you have customers or you process the records of 1,000 people within a period of 6 months, and these sectors here, yours is not specifically mentioned, you also fall under the extra high level. Then we have the ordinary high level. That's where you have the SMEs, primary and secondary schools, primary health centers, third party vendors for the MDP and the EHL. But the criteria for you to be on this list is that you have a minimum of 200 customer records you process. So keep the questions coming in so we can address it. But I'm sure you've understood categories of organizations that should register. You must process minimum of 200 customer records known as data subjects before you are considered a data controller or data processor of major importance. Okay, someone just asked, can we outsource this? Yes, you can talk to the data protection compliance organization you work with, and Flowlease is a licensed data protection compliance organization to help you with the registration process. You can also use your in-house data protection officer to do your registration as long as the person understands the process. And that's why we mentioned that we are having a training on how to navigate the portal so that the person you want to use to complete your registration process knows everything that is required and have those information handy while navigating the portal. So more questions, please. Okay, must we have a data protection officer before registering? Yes, because the registration process will need the name of the data protection officer, and the registration process will need the person's certification as a certified data protection officer. So it is important you have a designated data protection officer to do this registration. So for a financial institution that does not process up to 10,000 data within 6 months, where do they fall in? This is a very sensitive question because the guidance notice has already put financial institution under the ultra high. But if you are a startup and you don't have up to the 5,000 threshold of data subject record to process, you can write to the NDPC through a DPCO to make a case for you that you are a startup. And if it is approved, then your registration fee can come down. But without that, you fall under the ultra high. So that's why you need a consulting firm to be able to make a case for you that maybe you're a startup but you are still in the financial space. Can the NDPC give you like a waiver? So I'm not going to speak for the NDPC, but I know that some organizations don't process up to 5,000. They are still in the financial space. So you have to go through a deep code to make a case. And if it's approved, then your registration fee can be reduced. But without that, you are going to pay 250,000 when you operate in the financial space. For capital market operators that don't process up to 500 data subject, what category do they fall? So now the threshold for you to register is 200 data subjects. So now above 200, the next threshold falls under the extra high level, and that is 1,000. So between 500 to 1,000, there's a gap. But because a capital market operator operates in the financial space, they may be considered ultra high level. That is why you need a deep code in your registration process so they can guide you. So that if you can get a reduced fee based on the customer records you process, they are the ones to make that case for you. But ordinarily, once you're in the financial space, you are considered to be under the ultra high level. I hope I'm answering the questions right. So, with the certificate gotten from the training conducted by Flowless suffice? Yes. If you have gone through any of the certification courses through Flowless or through Data Protection Academy, it also qualifies you to complete your registration. So that is a valid certificate and that will be validated by the NDPC. So that is 100% okay to do your registration. So you are a certified DPO. So what is the certification requirement for a DPO for MFB? Uh, yes, for you to be a DPO, you have to go through a formal training approved and sit for the exam. After passing the exam, every certification has a minimum pass mark. Some 50%, some 60%, some 70%. Once you've passed that certification, you are now issued a certificate. That now makes you a certified data protection officer. What of a situation when you have recurrent data that constitute the volume of data being processed? Okay, at this point, you need a DPCO to guide you, because if it's a recurrent data, then you have to work with the DPCO to guide you. So I understand that it's a self-registration process, and you can go to the portal www.services.ndpc.gov.ng to do the registration. But from the questions you've asked, it's always better to work with someone who is experienced and who understands how to navigate this portal, so that some of these errors you can eliminate it, and maybe you may get a reduced registration fee if a case is made. Um, then the certificate has exceeded 2 years. Can it? Yes. Once you are a certified DPO, you are a certified DPO. Even if it's 2 years, even if it's 3 years. The only thing is that you just have to keep on attending trainings, so that you are up to date with current trend in data privacy. Data privacy is a very fast evolving field. A training slide that is used on Monday can become obsolete on Tuesday because some changes have occurred. So even if you did your certification in 2019, 2020, it's still valid, and it will be validated by the NDPC as long as it's from a recognized certification body. And that's why you need to attend the paid training, so that you can know which of these certifications will be approved by the NDPC during your registration process. Where will government where will government own microfinance? This question is not too straightforward. Maybe you have to rephrase it. Okay, where will government owned microfinance fall? Okay, I think this one is very easy. The ministries, department, and agencies and microfinance bank are on the same category. So they will be under the extra high level, and their filing fee will be like their registration fee will be like 100,000, excluding the electronic charges. Okay, can you please assist those of us who joined the training late? Okay, I'm actually doing a recap, but I'll do another recap for you. Yes, so that you don't miss out. So let's just do a recap for those that just came in late, so they can understand what we've been able to achieve. So quick one, the NDPC is the regulatory body for data protection in Nigeria. Now they issued a guidance notice. Because if you've studied the Data Protection Act, it says that after 6 months, the president assented to the bill, there should be a database of all data controllers and data processors in Nigeria. Now, this process is different from your annual filing. This is just a registration to say we have registered on the database of data controllers and data processors. So it's a requirement based on the act. And there are two major criteria for you to be a data controller or data processor of major importance. First is that you must process a minimum of 200 customers' records. Second is that you should operate in a sector such as finance, communication, healthcare, education, insurance, import, export, aviation, tourism, oil and gas, electric power. So if you have more than 200 customers, you are considered a data controller or data processor of major importance. If you operate in these sectors that I just mentioned, you are also considered a data controller or data processor of major importance. Now, the NDPC went further to break the categories into three levels. We have the ultra high level. Under the ultra high level, you have the commercial banks. And why are the commercial banks under the ultra high level? Because they collect a whole lot of data, both personal and sensitive. They collect biometrics. They collect your name, your demographic data, your contact data, email address, phone number. So they deal with a whole lot of data. The telcos also deal with a whole lot of data. Of course, they collect your biometrics during registration. And biometrics is a sensitive data. Sometimes they collect your ethnic data. collect your religious belief. So because of the kind of data they collect, they are considered to be under the ultra high level. We also have insurance companies. We also have multinational companies. We have the electricity distribution companies, oil and gas, then social media app developers, then device manufacturers, and then we have the payment gateway service providers. So because of the kind of data these people deal with, any data breach will expose the data subject to different kind of risk. So it is good they have in place security measures to mitigate this data breach. But that is one of the reasons why they are classified ultra high. You understand? Now we have the extra high level. Under the extra high level, you have the government ministries, department, parastatals. You have microfinance banks, higher institutions, hospitals, and mortgage bank. But if you have a customer base of 1,000 people and you process their record, within 6 months, 1,000 customers' records are processed, then you are considered extra high level. Then we have the ordinary level where you have the SMEs, the primary schools, secondary schools, and third party vendors. So that is how the NDPC, in their wisdom, classified the different organizations, the data controllers and the data processors. So we have another question. This registration is for organizations yet to be recognized with NDPC, while annual filing is for both new and existing organization. Uh, this registration is for both new and existing organization. Annual filing is what you do every year. So it's not it is the first time NDPC is doing this. So everybody is doing it for the first time. So the portal was opened January 30th and will be closed by June 30th. So it's a first time registration. So everybody's starting from the same place. It's not as if some people did it last year and some people did not do it. No, everybody started January 30th and everybody should complete it by June 30th this year. So keep the questions coming so that we can be able to address those key questions. Keep the questions coming. If you have any question, you can drop it on the chat box so we can address it. And don't forget, the registration link is services.ndpc.gov.ng. Services.ndpc.gov.ng. So that you can check it out yourself. And if it's something you can complete yourself, fine. How much were we supposed to pay? Okay, let me just go further. So now the registration fee is set by the NDPC. The NDPC sets the fee, and based on your level, the ultra high level they pay 250,000, and the money goes to the federal government through NDPC, not a private company, not a consulting firm. For those under the extra high level, it's 100,000, and that is where microfinance bank, mortgage bank fall under. And those that are under the ordinary level, where you have the primary school, the secondary schools, the SMEs, is 10,000 naira. So that is it. The money goes straight to the federal government, not to any individual. It goes through the NDPC. So you advise your organization to do it. You can do the registration yourself, or you seek the advice of a well experienced consulting firm to handle it for you. And when you complete the registration, you are supposed to get like a printout that you have to keep. So that's it. Capital market operators. Capital market operators are not fully classified. Like this is where you fall under. So what you will use as a criteria, aside the fact that you operate in the financial space, is how many customers do you have? How many customers do you process their record within a period of 6 months? So if you can answer that question, you can now decide, okay, we fall under the ultra high, we fall under the extra high, or fall under the ordinary high level. So if in the guidance notice your sector is not well stated, you also need to look at your customer base and how many records within a period of 6 months do you process. So those are the two ways of knowing where you fall under. But what takes precedence is the sector you operate. Okay. So if there are no other questions, we are going to end today's training, and I expect participants to join us for the paid training coming up February 29th, and it will last up till the 2nd of March. So it's a 3-day training so that you can be able to know how to navigate the portal. For organizations that want to do it themselves, fine and good, but it's better you attend this training so you don't make mistakes that will affect your registration, so that you don't have an invalid registration. So there are frequently asked questions that we've been able to answer based on the registration portal. It's good you know those things so that you don't make mistake. The training is 15,000 naira, and then for organizations that want to register more than 5 people, we have discounts. So feel free to reach out to us if you want to take advantage of this training so you can do the registration for your organization. Thank you, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you for making our time to join us for our live training. We appreciate you, and keep your questions coming so that we can be able to address those questions. The conversation continues through our WhatsApp and email. Yes, someone said so. Financial institutions fall under the ultra high level. Yes, but I only made a reference that there may be some startup financial institutions that don't process up to 5,000 records. So maybe they have to go through the DPCO to guide them so that if a case can be made for them, then they can have the filing fee reduced. But ordinarily, once you operate in the financial space, you are seen to be under the ultra high level. The payment, according to the NDPC, is a one-time payment. According to them, they said it's a one-time payment. So that is it. You can also go to their website to get more information, www.ndpc.gov.ng, to get more information so that you are well informed. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you.